Alright, so real quick, we're going to try this again. Um, this is the Dirty Dozen, as I like to call it. These are the 12 fish that I would like to keep in my fish room. And this table down here, let me know their water requirements and everything else that I need to be able to keep them. Over here is my list of actual tanks that I have on hand right now. And this will tell me what I need to get, what I need to do. We'll talk about each fish real quick. I'm not going into too much detail because I'm going to go over them individually as I get them. So number one priority here is Discus. They're going to be my big money maker. They're going to be the ones that actually get me into my shop. So I'm going to be taking really good care of them. They're going to be in the 330 gallon tanks, 329 gallon tanks, right in the middle of the middle of the shelf, about 2 feet off the ground. That way I can control the temperature really well. The L200 green phantoms, I love this fish. They're easy to breed for me. I've had good luck with them. Also really pricey, almost as much as the Discus. Fry wise, let's see. Apistos McMasteri and the banded cichlid. I actually already have these two. They're sharing a 20 gallon right now. I'm about to get the males for each of them and start breeding those guys out, which will be my first fish to breed in the aquarium. Number 5 is a panda cory. I love these fish. I've had really good luck with cories in the past, and pandas are adorable. Simple as that. Number 6 is the Texas cichlid. Right now, this is the biggest fish I have. They are the big female, as I like to call her, Debbie, is a whopping 9 inches long. She's a short body female. The male's going to get even bigger than her. And I have 2 other sub-adult males that I need to get rid of. They're probably going to stay in the 60 as a pair and hope they don't kill each other. Next on the list is the L139 Pletko, the Royal. I love this fish. I've never kept it before, but it should be an interesting breeding opportunity. The next one up the list is the Sultan Pletko, and I'll talk about this in a second. The L264. I love this fish the minute I saw it. They have one at my local fish store, and I just geeked out over it. Beautiful coloration, interesting behavior. They're carnivore, actually, which is cool. Omnivore, but they're primary carnivores. Beautiful fish. Next on the list is rummy nose. I don't have to talk about those because those guys are everywhere. I just love them. They're a great indicator fish. I keep them in most of my expensive tanks that they can go in. The next one up on the list is a frontosa. I've never actually kept Tanganyika cichlids before, so this is a new one for me. I need to get better at it. In that tank, I'm actually just going to grow these guys out just because I want them to... I was going to get them big enough so I can sell them off for a higher price. But it should be a nice little experiment for me. I've never actually done this before. But the other fish out of that lake that I really like is the Pseudotropheus de Boise, which is a beautiful algae-eating Pseudotropheus called a starlight cichlid, I think, or something like that. They have beautiful white spots all over them as juvenile, and then the males, the adults, have a blue and a yellow finish on them. But they should be fine together for a little while until the frontosas get bigger. I think I'm going to keep 6 and 4, so there'll be 10 fish total in a 90-gallon acrylic aquarium. They're actually probably just going to get tap water since their pH parameters are match up with Tulsa's tap water. I should tell you something. So that'll be a nice little cheap tank for me to keep. The last fish on this list is actually one of my favorites here. Geophagus. I'm trying to say this in Spanish. I don't know if it's Spanish or Portuguese, but probably Portuguese. Tapajos. I don't know. But anyway, the Geophagus and the salt and pleco are actually from the same river, which I think is interesting. It's a river in western Brazil. It's really pretty, sandy bottom, lots of leaf litter, stuff like that. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to see if I can't keep those two together. This is a beautiful fish, relatively inexpensive, but interesting to breed. They're a mouth brooder. Sand. They like sand and stuff like that. So does the salt and pleco. Anyway, so let's talk about this table real quick. If you guys can see that, but it's broken down into two different groups. You have temperature, the minimum tank size for them, their hardness levels, what their water parameters need to be, the level of tank they inhabit, and any special thing that they need. Okay. So, real quick, we're going to run through this. It's looking like we're going to have to keep the aquarium right at 80 to 82 degrees, somewhere in that range, which means I'm going to run a heater in the whole room. The only fish that doesn't match that requirement is the Texas cichlid, and I can set them up in a different room or even at the far end of the room. I have to keep all the fish in one room just to give myself a break. The only fish that's out of requirements for my aquariums is probably the Texas cichlids. They need a large aquarium for that. The pH of the water is going to be another big issue for me. Like I said, tap water in Tulsa is about 8.4. Great for Africans, not so great for anything else. So I'm going to buffer that water down to about 7. Hardness is going to be another issue. I'm going to buffer that water as well. But anyway, I'm going to lose this, so y'all have a good night.